Evening, guys. Hi, hope everyone's doing really well. Bloody blah. Rob back for another video. I've got quite a lot to show and get through, so I'm gonna try and rattle through this as quick as possible, because just because there's a lot to show. Apologies for not taking so long to do a vinyl catch up, but as I say, these records and CDs have been coming through in kind of dribs and drabs over the last few weeks, so I wanted to wait until I had a fair bit to show and talk about, of course. So okay, so let's crack on. Okay, so straight off the bat, went to a really good gig last night in King's Heath in Birmingham, to the Kitchen Garden Cafe, and I was very fortunate to see this wonderful lady. This is Katie Spencer, who I've shown one of her records before. This is her latest record, which she's touring at the moment. This is The Edge of the Land. And this was actually a copy that a friend sent to me, who works with her mother, actually, and so managed to get me a signed copy, which was amazing, because it was actually before the record was officially actually launched in our hometown of Hull, which was a few weeks ago when the tour started. So okay, so just a little bit about Katie Spencer. So she's a progressive folk artist, in the sort of tradition of sort of John Martin and Bert Jansch and artists like that. She's also, I think, a big Bridget St. John fan as well. So you kind of get a feel for where she's coming from musically and where her influences are. But having said that, she's very much her own artist. She's a wonderful guitar player, has a wonderful kind of languid picking style. She does instrumentals as well as writing her own superb songs. She was great to see the gig. She's talking about her sort of home life, her background from Hull, and really sort of putting sort of the culture of the town on the map, showing her love and her influences clearly come from living there, and it comes out very earnestly in her music and her lyrics. And yeah, it was a wonderful night. So as I say, this is her latest album. That's the gatefold. There's Katie on the back. Okay, which is available on our website. I was very lucky. I was actually chatting there at during the interval, and I picked this up as well. This is a CD that she recorded in the studio in December of 2020, and this is called Hurt in Your Heart. Okay, and this is a kind of tribute to John Martin, and she actually played with ex-members of John Martin's band. So she was very honoured, and I think privileged to play with them. She does. So this is a three-track CD, and it's got "Couldn't Love You More" on, which of course the fantastic song from his One World album. And she actually did that as an encore last night, which was wonderful. Really. So yeah, highly recommend Katie. If you get to see her, do so. You'll have a wonderful night's entertainment. And yeah, I believe she's after this tour, she's also coming back to Birmingham to play the Moseley Folk Festival in September as well. So yeah, I'll something to look forward to, and hopefully catch up with her again there. Okay, so moving on. Okay, another CD. This is a band that I really love. I've been slowly collecting some of their later albums. This is the debut album, which has kind of eluded me on vinyl, so I just pulled the trigger and ended up buying a digital copy on CD. So this is music from the Penguin Cafe. So this is, of course, the wonderful Penguin Cafe band, and this is their debut album, which was released in 1976, but it was recorded between 1973, 74. Fronted by the wonderful Simon Jeffers, who's sadly no longer with us, but was the kind of leader of the band and the main musician, songwriter. So yeah, this is a great album. I mean, it's some people say that it's not their best, and it's where they were kind of forging and sort of getting their sound together, which is very much a kind of mixture of kind of classical and jazz elements, with kind of very cyclical kind of motifs, with all kinds of wonderful string instruments, guitars, violins, cellos, different kinds of timpani and percussion, but also sort of songs with the kind of egg whisks and kitchen utensils and all sorts, and yeah, they really kind of throw everything into the mix, which is why I love them. They're very unique sounding bands. So yeah, that's music from the Penguin Cafe by Penguin Cafe. Okay, this was a vinyl acquisition for an album that I used to have on CD years ago. Don't know why, what happened to it, or I don't know, maybe it's somewhere in a cupboard somewhere, but I went to play it the other week and couldn't find it. So luckily Ben got in a copy. This is the wonderful Nico, of course, and 1971 album Chelsea Girl, which is kind of arguably her best known work. So yeah, obviously Nico, the German model come singer, who obviously famously sung on the Velvet Underground's first album, had an association, of course, with Andy Warhol. Yeah, and this is a wonderful kind of real unusual, off the wall kind of folky album with beautiful kind of string arrangements, sort of quite Baroque in places. The wonderful Chelsea Girls, Wrap Your Troubles in Dreams is wonderful. The opener, Fairest of the Seasons, and lovely the second track, These Days, which is probably my favourite. Beautiful stuff. So this is it was originally on MGM. This is a reissue on Polydor. So yeah, glad to get that. This is an 80s reissue, but it still sounds pretty good. So happy to get that into the collection again. Okay, next one. This is a record that I think was released, re-released for Record Store Day a few years ago, and I did stream it, and I thought it was all right, and wasn't particularly blown away by it, but because of the personnel on the record, and yeah, I just thought I'd give it another try. Ben had an original copy, and that was a reasonable price, so I thought I'd snap it up. So this is Blows Against the Empire. So yeah, this is officially a Paul Kantner solo album, his first solo album, I believe, and the first one to appear under the moniker of Jefferson Starship, which of course the airplane would become. But yeah, I mean, the personnel on this is, I think, pretty much the same as those that appeared on David Crosby's album. So I think it was recorded around the same time, kind of 1970. So all those kind of Laurel Canyon artists, Jerry Garcia, and who else is on there? Grace Slick, of course. The Crosby, Stills guys, Graham Nash. Yeah, and it's supposed to be a kind of concept album. Yeah, comes with this booklet with these kind of strange kind of pencil drawings. I think it's still very much kind of a last breath of the kind of counterculture. You've got people needed now, earth getting too thick, move on and out to the cool and the dark. All positions open, captains, astral navigators, cooks, dancers, energy centers. We need experts in explosives, wave mechanics, laser techniques, atomic and trionic physics, whatever that is, Labrian tantronics, telemetry, etc. And it goes on and on and on. Okay, and then this makes me smile. It's got the we intended to hijack the first sound interstellar or interplanetary starship built by the people of this planet. And then it's got embarkation date, approximately 1988 to 89. So kind of 30 years hence, and we're still waiting the departure, as it were. So yes, that did make me chuckle. But yeah, I mean, musically, it's an interesting listen. So yeah, particularly the songs by Grace Slick singing are probably the highlights for me on this. But yeah, okay. Okay, next one. One to add to my Bebop Deluxe collection. I don't know why, I've got no idea why I never picked this up before. This is their third record from 1976. This is Sunburnt Finish. So yeah, it's a really, really common record, as are most of their catalogue. The first two, Axe Victim and Futurama, don't show up quite so much, but this one and Modern Music tend to be quite common. So yeah, I think this was the first album produced by John Leckie, who went on to obviously produce XTC and obviously most notably, I think, Radiohead. And yeah, I mean, this finds kind of Bill Nelson in his usual sort of wonderful kind of prog rock kind of feel with the songs, some kind of out there lyrics, but these wonderful kind of incendiary guitar playing, soloing kind of throughout the songs, as in his wonderful style that he has. Yeah, always a great listen. So that's Bebop Deluxe and Sunburst Finish. And of course, this has probably the biggest single, Ships in the Night, on as well. Okay, so glad to get that one. Okay, next one. This is a compilation album that I picked up again at Ben's. This is a guy that I'd heard on a folk sampler album called Clogs, which sort of picked up a couple of years ago. And yeah, probably two of my favourite tracks on it were by Andy Roberts, and haven't managed to find any of his solo albums, but I picked up this one. This is a compilation from 1973 on Charisma. Wonderful Mad Hatter label. You never get sick of collecting albums on that label. And yeah, so Andy Roberts, great kind of progressive folky guitarist, really great player. I think he's been a session player, and he was with the group Plainsong, which I believe is still with them, with Ian Matthews. Can't quite get that in at the moment. Put that in back later. So yeah, Andy Roberts, great artist, and yeah, this is a really nice compilation record from I think his first couple of solo albums, Homegrown, and I can't remember the name of the second one, but yeah, and I think there's some kind of country flavoured kind of songs on this record, which I'm not quite so keen on, but the songs which are a little bit more progressive in feel and a little the mellower kind of ones, are sort of with his guitar playing is a little bit more interesting, certainly for my ear anyway. But yeah, really glad to get it, and it wasn't expensive, so happy to get that into the collection. Okay, really delighted to get this one. This was one that I took, I was a little bit hesitant because it was quite expensive, but Ben gave me a pretty good price on it, because it's certainly not a record that I've seen before, even though I knew the most famous song off it, and obviously I knew the artist. So this is Mason Williams, and this is the Mason Williams phonographic record. This is an album from 1968. So yeah, Mason Williams, classical guitarist, composer, arranger, had the huge hit Classical Gas instrumental, a wonderful kind of classical guitar arrangement, quite a groundbreaking kind of song, putting sort of a classical, mixing sort of classical with pop, and yeah, wonderful strings on here, some sort of, you know, really big pop sounds, big bombastic kind of stuff, sort of typical of the day, I guess, but in his own style. Some kind of comic moments as well, little kind of sort of vignettes come in here and there, along with yeah, so sort of nice little instrumental passages as well. So yeah, I mean, it was an interesting record. I couldn't stream the whole album, so I just kind of took a bit of a chance on it, really. But yeah, glad I did, because it's a great listen. The only thing I'd say that on the negative side is that, like a lot of pop records for this period, it's quite short. I think it's only about 28 minutes. So yeah, a bit more, a bit longer, more music on it would have been nice, but quality rather than quantity, I guess you could say as well. So good, great stuff. Okay, next one was a long time one for me on vinyl. Love this artist. Always been a big fan of Windham Hill artists for a long time, and I'm really glad to finally get this one. This is George Winston's Autumn. So George Winston, American sort of jazz, kind of come classical, kind of new age, I guess, for want of a better term, which a lot of Windham Hill music used to get kind of banded with at the time, is still kind of referred to as that. But I mean, they're all fantastic, you know, creative artists in their own right. Many of the Windham Hill artists, and there's not many that I've heard that I haven't enjoyed. So this, yes, solo piano, Wonderfully evocative of the autumn season, as is most of all the other albums that George Winston's produced. Summer, winter into spring, and of course December, which is probably was the first one I heard, and probably a favourite of a lot of people. But I think this is the one that really kind of sent the label, Windham Hill label, into kind of the stratosphere in terms of record sales anyway. Recorded in 1980. Just a beautiful listen. So very, very glad to finally get that on vinyl. Okay, the next artist is fairly new to me, but I recognised the music and I've heard some of the themes. This was one that Ben got in. I think this is a fairly new compilation, and this is the French composer and arranger Francis Lai, and this is a compilation of a lot of her late 60s and early 70s kind of TV and film themes. This is Pop Story. It's got the wonderful opener, Saint-Tropez. Incredible opening. Just the energy on that is fantastic. Very, very 60s, very of its time. Upbeat, dancey. Yeah, just fantastic musicianship. A joy to listen to. So there we go. Certainly lovers of KLM and library music and so on would probably really enjoy that. Okay, so I enjoyed that so much, I actually decided to pick up, see what else was available of Francis Lai, and managed to snag this. Found this on Amazon for a really cheap price. I think this was about £14. So this is his album Made in France. That's the man himself on the back. Okay, this is actually a limited edition. It says a restored edition. So I don't know whether this has been digitally mastered from digital. I don't know what the source material on this is. It's unfortunately not in a PVC sleeve, which annoys the hell out of me. So just by pulling it out the sleeve there, I've probably wrecked it. But there you go, it's on this nice coloured blue, deep blue coloured vinyl. And I think this is more his kind of romantic side. I've not actually played this. I've just literally, this was just a blind buy on the strength of enjoying Pop Story so much. And obviously because it was fairly cheap, I thought, well, what the hell, why not? So I'll maybe report in later on that and let you know what I think of that one. Okay, and then the last one is an artist that I love. Love her vocals. Wish I could find more of her earlier material. I've got one or two of her albums and compilations and so on, and a couple of CDs, but I think this was a bit of a comeback for her, hence the title. This is Dusty Springfield, and it begins again. This is from 1978. And this was just dirt cheap, so I couldn't resist picking this up. I really didn't expect to like this very much. I don't know why, because I mean, you know, Dusty Springfield can sing the phone book, as to use an age-old cliche, and she can make that sound great. So yeah, but it's true. I mean, she really is. She's probably, arguably, the greatest, uh, pop female vocalist from this country we've had in the last sort of 50 years or so. And yeah, a great loss when we lost her, of course. But yeah, I mean, I quite enjoy this. It's not kind of typically late 70s kind of style, albeit that it does have elements of that, obviously because of the period of time that it's recorded in. But the songs are really good, and I just thoroughly enjoyed it. So yeah, I think particularly it was at Hollywood Movie Girls. I think I really liked that one. That was a great one, and yeah. But I need to give it I've only actually played it once, so I need to give it another listen, a couple of listens to really absorb it. But yeah, that's Dusty Springfield, and It Begins Again. Okay, guys, so that's it. Hope you're all keeping really well. Obviously, we've got Her Majesty's Jubilee coming up, where we're all going to have a massive, long celebratory drink. I mean, celebration, of course. Of course, there'll be no alcohol involved. Heaven forbid. So there you go. But yeah, so apparently this squally, tornadic weather that we're supposed to be getting over the next couple of days is going to all be gone by the weekend. And so hopefully we'll, yeah, the weather will be great for the any street parties, pub gatherings, etc. obviously for the following weekend. So yeah, jolly japes and fun aplenty to come. So yeah, take care of yourselves, guys. All the best, and I shall speak to you real soon. Cheers, all the best. Bye-bye.